Welcome back, YouTubers, to another Q&A question and answer video with us, your boys, the British Fist.
Coaching!
With me, Mr. Parkin, with another V-neck for another 3 Q&As, and this guy sitting next to me with a green shirt on for the next 3 Q&As. It's none other than your boy, NJ.
What's up?
Your favourite boy, NJ.
That's it. That's what I am. That's what I am.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Subscribe above, like this video, and comment any questions or thoughts you have on the questions you've answered down in our comment section below.
Make sure you contact us in the link in the description box below.
Yes, and we've had an overwhelming amount of questions once again, and we can't thank you enough for all the questions you send in for us. But if you want to send in more questions, or you're a new subscriber and you want to send us in some questions, all the available information will be down in that description box below. Inbox us, Facebook us, or comment down below. Either way, just as long as you get in touch with us, we'll always try and make sure your questions are part of our Q&A series.
So keep the questions coming, and we'll keep on vlogging.
Indeed, we will, and we'll keep answering those questions. Let's go straight onto this Q&A this week, NJ. I've lost count how many Q&As we've done now, but yeah, you'll see by the title. We'll figure it out by the time we upload it. The first question is a good one to start this Q&A. The Paguna. I know he's an Arsenal supporter. What are 5 things you would do to make the WWE better? Any thoughts on this one?
Well, straight away, the first thing that I want to say is that what we see on TV isn't just what we're given, because the WWE have a much bigger roster than what we see. And the thing I would do perfectly straight away is use your roster, because all they really concentrate on is the main guys that stand out. Yeah. You've got all these other guys that could quite easily become mid-carders, tag opponents, and they would fill up the card more, give us better matches, better feuds, and that brings on to point 2. The feuds could be done better with the roster they have. There's 2 there.
I think one thing that the WWE could do to make themselves a lot better is change their writing staff, because at the moment, the Hollywood script writers, in my opinion, are just not offering us anything that we can really get behind right now. And it's very hard sometimes to really legit get interested in something that WWE does. So in my opinion, a change of the writing staff or the booking team especially could be something that could make WWE a little bit better. Just relate it a little bit more to us wrestling fans.
And I know this is a small point, and it's just concentrating on the wealth of their wrestlers, but the wellness policy, you can see how damaging that is for the storyline and feuds and that. As much as it's stable for the wrestlers, I respect that, but in the long run, when it actually happened, because they've done it so many times in a short period of time, it does become a bit frequent, a bit too much. So I personally would try and change the rules for that.
I mean, it is there for the safety of the wrestlers, but it does get in the way a little bit. I think one thing I would also, WWE would need to make stars. It's very apparent with the lack of strength, of depth, and star power in their roster. They need to be able to make stars, and it's one thing that they're not really doing right now, and they need to book these guys that they've got. They need to really get a plan, in my opinion, 6 or 7 guys who they think could be main eventers in the next couple of years, and push these guys to the moon, book them correctly, make heels look a lot stronger so they can get some heel heat, so they can get the babyface over a little bit more. We've seen a big example of Sheamus as being booked way too strong, and people are just starting to hate him now. But if you had the heels being booked a little bit stronger, they might be able to get behind Sheamus a little bit more, because he's there bro-kicking everyone on the free TV show, and you're sitting there thinking, well, why should I get behind him in the pay-per-view? He's going to win.
That's very true, and I see the WWE are bringing new talent, especially on SmackDown, but obviously they're in their early days, so they've got a long way to go. And also, the fact I mentioned about the roster, there's a wellness policy and the injuries that are affecting it, but all I can say is that at the moment we've gained 5 points there that is really affecting the way we see the WWE as a company.
One extra point I want to add. Make Raw 2 hours, don't make it 3 hours, and because of that, put a little bit more concentration on SmackDown, not as a filler show, but as a second show that can really make us buy into storylines and stuff. I'm just saying. Anyway, we 4 or 5 things there, well 6 if you count mine, so we'll move on to the next question. Brad Tragic K. Do you miss WCW? And if so, what were your favourite stars that aren't really active anymore? We never really got the chance to watch WCW. We were, we're 22. We weren't really involved in wrestling. Well, I know I wasn't. I don't know about you, but I've seen some WCW stuff, and I must admit, I was quite impressed by it until, obviously, Vince Russo and Dave Lagana took over the writing process. Do you miss WCW? Especially in the terms of competition to WWE, really try and expand the boundaries of the wrestling business.
With WCW, I only got the odd flashbacks through the internet, what people were saying, nothing I was actually really into. The thing I do miss is, pow, bang, what up? Oh,
I remember that. I must admit, I do miss WCW purely because it was a second company a very big company that could challenge WWE and really, stretch the envelopes of the wrestling business. What are some of the favourite stars that aren't active anymore? Oh, God, what, from WCW? Macho Man Randy Savage is one of them. Can't really think of any others, to be honest. Sting is still around. Hogan's still around. Flair's still around. Sting is still around. There's so many people that are still around. I don't know, DDP or someone like that. I don't really know what to say here. I'm just saying Bam Bam Bigelow would be another one for me. Mr. Perfect, Lex Luger. There's so many to choose from there. Super Reggie Dog. If you were running TNA, how would you use Hulk Hogan? They've currently got him in a GM spot right now, but would you use him in any other form? Or?
Well, I was quite happy with Sting being the GM and Hogan being there as a special guy, the guy that draws in eyes and that. So he was just around, being a part of the show, like being a part of the matches, or just have some role that's not the GM. It would have been a draw and a good use of Hogan. But he's the GM. Yes, it's gave him more power, but I think we've seen Hogan at the top of his game for a long time now. I
think Hogan as GM, they're using it to draw eyes to the product, and that is understandable. As much as we may not like it in the YWC, some people do tune in still to watch Hulk Hogan, and I like him in that GM spot. But I also didn't mind. I liked Sting in that GM spot, and I liked Hogan as this special appearance guy to try and put a guy over or something like that. But I can understand why TNA are using him a little bit more in the GM role, because they do want to sort of, he does draw some eyes to the company, as much as we hate to say it.
Totally true.
Mighty Mitch 93. Do you think Kurt Angle deserves a Hall of Fame spot in the near future? For which company? That's what I'll say. For which company? Definitely in TNA. And definitely in WWE for me.
My eyes is more towards the WWE. Not saying he's done bad for TNA, because he's done great stuff for TNA, but his heart was in the WWE, and he's had the most feuds and matches going on there. But if you said any time in the near future, just like I said for Sting, he's still an active wrestler, and I still think putting people who are still active in the Hall of Fame, especially in the near future, maybe a bit too quickly of a motion for that, instead of doing people who are actually left and obviously need that welcome into the Hall of Fame.
You mean like the Randy Savages, the Mick Foleys, etc., people
stuff
like
that, yes.
The San Martinos, all that kind of shit. But I mean, I think Kurt Angle is very worthy of a WWE Hall of Fame spot when he retires. He's also very worthy of a TNA Hall of Fame spot as well, if they want to do that. Next question. Y2 Jamies, aka Jamie Ines NZ on YouTube, asked us 2 questions. At the time of making the video, what WWE heels would benefit themselves or the company by making a babyface turn? He thinks Miz, Jack Swagger, and Drew McIntyre. Can you think of any heels that would really benefit from maybe having a face turn?
The only one that, from what you've said, there's 2 possible ones. I'll say mine. Miz, because obviously, yes, he played a better, stronger heel, but with him failing booking and obviously not having the right booking, maybe a face turn to see how he works out as that. 'Cause he's great on the mic, so I can quite simply get the crowd behind him as a face, but he's better of a heel. And my other one would be, maybe not the best, but Ziggler.
Yeah, I was going to suggest Ziggler purely because he was pretty damn over at the at recent pay-per-views and recent TV tapings. And he would be like the next sort of transition heel you could make into a face. But Drew McIntyre could be a baby face. I mean, let's face it, WWE don't have many legit baby faces, so maybe making Ziggler a baby face would at least give him a feud rather than just being another one of these cookie-cutter heel that is kind of in and out everywhere.
If I had one more, because obviously with the Drew McIntyre, I think he's not really been around actually on TV long enough to be determined. He's built up as a face. I think they should bring him back as a heel and use him. But another one that's a heel that should be a face is Daniel Bryan.
Yeah, I mean, with the reactions he's getting, you could argue, is he a tweener? He probably is a tweener, but you could easily make him a face. My only issue with it being, I think as soon as you turn him face, his character would get boring. That's my issue with that, but that's another argument for another day. The crowd loves Miz Swagger and should have an undercard guy to put over someone like Jinder Mahal, and Drew has been forgotten about to the point it would have been a fresh angle for him. That's just a continuation from the last question. I should have said that first, but I didn't. Botch from me. That's why I'm growing a beard. Extreme Rock Maniac. Since WWE in some way has an alternate site with Portugal, how would you feel if WWE had a chance to bring in a Portuguese talent into the WWE, as I've never saw one? My question is, are there any Portuguese wrestling talent? Is it that big in Portugal? I don't really think it is it?
I'm just trying to pitch that idea because we do know that the WWE are trying to experiment with bringing wrestlers from different places into their company, but obviously Portuguese hasn't obviously been involved with wrestling, so I don't see it.
No, I don't see it either. As much as it is a great country, don't get me wrong, they have Cristiano Ronaldo, for God's sake, but not really a wrestling country as far as I know, even though they probably do have some fans, but just not in the big time. The awesome 3162, I'm guessing you're a Miz fan because of your first question. Why do you think The Miz is being buried? Well, he was initially buried because of the whole Survivor Series buy rate thing, and now he was filming for the Marines, so they're always going to job him out. So he was kind of getting buried, but you could argue that he's not been getting buried recently because he's filming the Marine, and they need to make him job out because there's no point in making him win before he's going to be filming for a couple of months.
The thing about that, yes, we could see the Marine as a reason why he's getting bad booking, but with The Miz, he's a guy who's been in the main event, a really strong heel, really good on the mic, and his booking should have stayed at a steady pace and maybe gone out with the whole injury angle or something like that, just so he didn't have to die out through losing matches and jobbing. But the overall thing is, the thing we've got to remember about The Miz is that he's awesome!
He is, and that is why he'll come back and set the world on fire, but there we go. Were you more excited to see End of an Era or Once in a Lifetime? Triple H and Undertaker or Rock and Cena? Which was you more excited to see?
Well, the thing about this is we go into Rock and Cena thinking that The Rock was going to be putting over Cena, even though it was great to see Rock wrestle, but my eyes was more on Triple H and Taker, just because there was a slight doubt that this could have been the end, and the way they were going to do it could have been many awesome ways.
Yeah, and to be honest, the Triple H Taker storyline, it was a storyline encumbered in history and things like that, and it was a little bit more interesting to me than Rock versus Cena, which after a while became very redundant, didn't it? Rock versus Cena, this Rock versus Cena, that. You know, I was looking forward to seeing Once in a Lifetime, but the End of an Era match, even though it had been done 3 times, was still very exciting to see on the premise of the strength of the story and the strength of the characters involved and the strength of the whole End of the Era sort of thing they had going.
That's very true, and it definitely made a great WrestleMania moment, just like Rock beating Cena.
Yeah, indeed. Do you think it's bullshit that JR is doing commentary on NXT instead of Raw? There are some arguments to that. I mean, the thing is right now is obviously JR is in a position where he will be on the lower shows, mainly because he'll be there to put over talent on the mic, etc. A lot of people will say he should be on Raw. I'd love to hear him on Raw, but at the same time, you need to try and push forward this new line of commentating talent you've got. Really, you can't have JR as the third wheel because it really just didn't work, did it? Remember JR and Cole and Lawler, and JR as a third wheel just didn't work. Either you have him on play-by-play, or you don't have him there at all, really, to be honest.
And that is true. With JR and Lawler, best team commentary, just bring them back, and that was awesome. But him getting moved from one show to another, the way they killed him off Raw, really. I know he still makes great appearances, but the whole Michael Cole, Jim Rossi thing was kind of sad for him. So I'm just saying that I would love him back on Raw, but him being moved to a company where he can actually say great wonders or great things about younger talent is still not a downfall for Jim Ross at all.
Exactly, and he is, and as a viewer of NXT and occasionally FCW when he's on, he is doing a good job on NXT putting over the talent. He knows a lot about it. He's involved in the developmental process. So who better to do the play-by-play really than Jim Ross? And I think what we also need to remember here is we are moving on from the Attitude Era, the sort of overselling of JR era into the new PG era, which is a shame. But unfortunately, Jim Ross's style of commentator doesn't really fit in with the way WWE want to really express their commentators' views and stuff. So that's one thing we just have to accept about the way wrestling business goes, I'm afraid, guys.
And so that Jim Ross never did, I take off my hat for him.
Yeah, your imaginary hat. Wolf Zone 316. Would you like to see Undertaker compete more often than he does? Do you think that having him as like a special attraction at WrestleMania means that it's more exciting to see Taker, or would you rather see him multiple times in the year? Do you think it's got to the point now where you do get legit excited when he's only once a year, or would you like to see him more often?
Sadly, when I realised that Taker was taking a lot of time off, my opinion of him didn't change because I still think he's a great wrestler, he does great wonders. But it did come to be a sad thing that he only appeared for WrestleMania special moments. And for fans that were tuning to see Taker bringing all his ability and stuff to the wrestling business, it's kind of sad to see it happen. So in a way, I would like to see him make more appearances and build it towards more pay-per-views. but Taker is coming out of a time where he's probably going to retire in the near future.
Yeah, and he is literally a special attraction for WrestleMania, which makes the WrestleMania pay-per-view feel more special, and you've got the streak and everything. So it has its swings and boundaries. I'll just say that. Never die 23. Never die 23. 23 years old. What is your obsession with AJ? Well, you want to know my obsession with AJ? Well, you want the truth? NJ knows this as well as anyone. I have a thing for nerdy girls, and AJ is the kind of epitome of the nerdy girl in the WWE, which is why I do like AJ a lot. And you know, she is my kind of girl. So if I see her on TV, I'm gonna be kind of obsessing over her. It's just something us horny virgin males do.
And the thing about AJ is, obviously, my opinion of her is slowly changing, but in a way, I think she needs to be more of her ring ability before I get an obsession or to go for it.
Yeah, true. I'm just going by looks. You know, you're going by the total package. This is why you like the Beth Phoenixes and the Terras and the Mickey Jameses and all those, isn't it? Because they have the total package. I'm just after hot, nerdy girls. It doesn't matter what they do in the ring. Which WWE divas do you think are hot and not?
Just said. There we are.
AJ is hot. Eve, when she's her heel, is hot. Is there any other divas you think are pretty hot?
You have to current, so I'll say Lita. There we are.
Yeah. Any current divas, or do you think they're all kind of just like meh?
Beth Phoenix, even though she's got the muscle and that, she's still got the looks about her. And the others, they're like the most American-styled ones, like the ones with blonde hair, breasts and that. They are okay, just not for me. I like the dark-haired brunette kind of girls.
NJ is more of a brunette type. There we go, girls. Critch95. When Raw does go 3 hours, do you think a new low-card belt would be added to fill up the time, e.g. hardcore or cruiserweight? No. The other hour will be full of filler. As much as I'd love to see a cruiserweight, do you really think WWE would put the time and effort into booking it? And do you really think that they can't book their belts enough as it is?
Sadly, I'm going to agree and disagree with you. I think in the extra hour they should use the talent that they're not using that are in the mid-card area just to make it build up for the mid-card to get better. But I don't see any new belts or like that just because the belts they got now are not meaningless as much as they used to, and that is WWE's writing's fault.
The low-card belt is the US Championship and the Tag Team Championship and the Divas Championship. So those are the low-card belts for you. Also, with the US Championship failing to make the last 3 pay-per-views and with no real feuds going on during the present, do you feel that unifying the IC and US belt will not only get the Intercontinental title more prestigious, but also get rid of the joke belt in the US Championship? I know that is something you sort of campaigned for on your channel. Do you want to give your quick thoughts?
My quick thought is that, yes, I would not destroy the US belt. I'll probably have a comedy line where Santina runs away with thinking, I'm the longest reigning US champion, this belt's mine, blah, blah, blah. Keep the IC belt, and then obviously have all the mid-carders that are on Raw and all the mid-carders on SmackDown fight for one belt, and eventually, when the mid-carders are built up, maybe if you want to, bring the US title back. Sorted.
Yeah, I mean, I don't really want to combine the two. I think, especially, when you have 2 brands, you need a mid-card belt on both brands. But the way it's going right now, people are just switching willy-nilly. So you could just have the IC belt and get rid of the joke US, especially if they're not going to book for it. So why would you even bother keeping it? But that's just another thing. I guess you guys can give us your opinions on that one. That has been another Q&A with us, the British Fist. We have very much enjoyed answering your questions, and make sure you keep sending them in. We don't want to go past the 20-minute time limit, as we may have a couple of people zing at the video, but there we go. Put your thoughts and comments and everything like that down in the comment section below. And now I'm going to hand you over to the usual guy who does the outro for us. It's NJ.
Thank you very much, people, for watching our Q&A. Till next time, goodbye.